The massive alien fleet hung in space like a swarm of metallic wasps. 12 different species had come together for this moment, the final push to claim the rich mining world of Kepler-4 for 2b. The planet glowed blue and green below them, its surface promising rare metals and energy, crystals that could power civilizations for centuries. Commander Vex of the Draken Empire stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical display. His scaled hands gripped the railing as he counted the assembled forces. 200 warships, the largest military gathering the galaxy had seen in decades. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the human territories." Vex laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge. Humans, what could those primitive apes want? The other alien commanders appeared on holographic displays around the bridge. General Kor of the Mantis Collective clicked his mandibles. In amusement, perhaps they wished to surrender their claim to the planet before we take it. "Put them through," Vex ordered. The transmission crackled to life. A calm human voice spoke in basic galactic standard. "This is Captain Ross of the Earth vessel Defiance. You are in violation of the Galactic Mining Treaty. This system belongs to humanity. Please withdraw your forces immediately." The alien commanders erupted in laughter. Vex wiped tears from his reptilian eyes. "One ship. You send one tiny ship against our fleet." "I repeat," the human voice continued, steady and unwavering. "Please withdraw your forces." Admiral Thrace of the Crystal Dominion spoke up, her crystalline form shimmering. "Human, your entire species has only 3 planets. We have conquered hundreds. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Leave now and we might let you live." "Negative," came the reply. "This is our final warning." The alien commanders looked at each other in disbelief. Through the massive viewing screens, they could see the human ship approaching. It was small, barely the size of a frigate. Its hull looked crude compared to their sleek vessels. No ornate decorations or intimidating weapon arrays, just a simple, boxy design that spoke of human practicality. "Look at it," sneered General Kor. "It's like a flying trash can." The other aliens laughed again. Their ships were works of art as much as weapons of war. The Draken vessels resembled great dragons, all curves and flowing lines. The mantis ships looked like their insectoid creators, bristling with spines and mandibles. The crystal ships were geometric marvels that caught and reflected starlight, but the human ship looked like it had been built in a junkyard. Sir Vex's tactical officer reported, "The human vessel is moving into attack position." 1 ship against 200, Vex mused. Either they're incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. With humans, it's often both, Admiral Thrace commented. The human ship Defiance continued its approach. It made no threatening moves, but it didn't back down either. It simply held its course, heading straight for the center of the massive alien fleet. "This is almost sad," muttered General Kor. "Should we just destroy it now and end this farce?" "No," Vex decided. "Let them get closer. I want to see what pathetic weapons they think can harm us." The alien fleet spread out in perfect formation. Their ships were equipped with the finest technology their civilizations could produce. Plasma cannons that could melt asteroids, shield generators powered by captured stars, engines that could fold space itself. The human ship had ... what? Crude missiles, primitive lasers. The aliens had studied human technology. They knew humans still used chemical propulsion for many of their systems, still relied on metal hulls instead of energy barriers. still fought with kinetic weapons when the rest of the galaxy had moved beyond such primitive tools. Captain Ross. Vex opened a channel again. I'll give you one last chance. Your ship is outnumbered 200 to 1. You face the combined might of 12 galactic empires. Surrender now, and we might find you a comfortable prison cell. I appreciate the offer, the human captain replied, his voice still calm. But I'm afraid I'll have to decline. The alien commanders shook their heads in amazement. The arrogance of these humans was astounding. Did they really think their single ship could stand against such overwhelming odds? Very well, Vex said. You've chosen your fate. All ships, prepare for battle. Let's show this human what real power looks like. The massive fleet began to move, weapon systems charged, shields activated. 200 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy prepared to swat aside one small human vessel. But Captain Ross wasn't done talking. Before we begin, his voice came over the come again. I should probably mention something. What? Vex demanded. You really shouldn't have mocked the ship. Asterisk, what did you just say? Commander Vex demanded, his voice rising. Captain Ross's reply came through with what almost sounded like amusement. I said you shouldn't have mocked the ship. Humans take that personally. The alien commanders exchanged glances on their holographic displays. General Kor's mandibles clicked nervously. Is this human trying to intimidate us with words? All ships, Vex commanded. Target the human vessel. Destroy it. The first wave of attacks came from the Draken ships. 12 plasma cannons fired. In perfect sequence, their blue-white beams capable of turning a small moon into vapor. The beams struck the human ship directly and did absolutely nothing. Impossible. Admiral Thrace exclaimed, her crystalline form flickering with shock. Those weapons can pierce any known armor. The human ship sat there in space, completely undamaged. Not even a scorch mark on its plain metal hull. It didn't even have visible shields up. Must be some kind of advanced deflector array, Vex muttered. Fire everything. All ships, full attack. The space around the Defiance erupted into light. 200 warships unleashed their most powerful weapons. Plasma beams, particle cannons, fusion torpedoes, quantum disruptors, enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. The barrage lasted for 30 seconds. When the light faded, the human ship was still there, still perfectly intact, still moving forward at the same steady pace. This is not possible, General Kor whispered. What kind of technology do they have? Captain Ross's voice came through. The come again, calm as ever. You know, back on Earth, we have a saying. Don't judge a book by its cover. What's a book? Admiral Thrace asked. Never mind, Ross replied. The point is, you looked at my ship and saw something crude and primitive. You didn't look very carefully. Commander Vex was studying his tactical display with growing concern. The sensors were giving him readings that made no sense. Tactical scan that human ship again. Full spectrum analysis. Sir, his tactical officer's voice was shaking. The scans keep coming back with impossible readings. The hull appears to be made of some kind of adaptive material we've never seen before. And sir, there's something else. What? The ship isn't really that small. The readings suggest it's much larger than it appears. Like it's folded somehow. Folded. Vex stared at the human ship. It still looked like a simple, boxy frigate. But now that he studied it more closely, something seemed off about its proportions. Captain Ross spoke again. You're starting to figure it out, aren't you? Humans are practical creatures, Commander Vex. We don't build ships to look pretty. We build them to work. What are you? Admiral Thrace demanded. I'm just a captain with a job to do, Ross replied. But my ship, ... Well, she's something special. Humans have always been good at making tools. And the Defiance is the finest tool we've ever made. As if responding to his words, the human ship began to change. Its hull started to shift and expand. Sections that had seemed solid suddenly opened to reveal hidden weapon arrays. The ship that had appeared to be the size of a frigate was unfolding like some mechanical flower, revealing its true dimensions. It's growing, General Kor said in disbelief. Not growing, Ross corrected. Just showing you what was already there. Humans learned a long time ago that the best way to surprise an enemy is to let them underestimate you. The Defiance continued to unfold. What had seemed like a small, primitive vessel was now revealing itself to be something entirely different. Weapon ports opened along its expanding hull. Engine sections deployed from what had looked like empty space. Within minutes, the ship had tripled in size. Impossible, Vex breathed. Space-folding technology like that is theoretical. No one has ever built it. Well, Ross said, humans have always been good at turning theory into practice. We're stubborn. That way, the fully deployed Defiance now looked less like a crude frigate and more like a technological marvel. Its hull gleamed with unknown materials. Weapon systems of impossible design tracked the alien fleet, and it was still growing. All ships, retreat, Admiral Thrace commanded. Fall back to long range. But Captain Ross wasn't done talking. Oh, I'm afraid it's too late for that, Admiral. You see, while you were all laughing at my little ship, she was doing something you didn't notice. What? Vex demanded. She was listening to all your communications, learning your tactics, mapping your weaknesses, and most importantly, ... double quotes, Ross paused. She was calling for backup. That's when the space around the alien fleet began to shimmer, and more human ships started to appear. The shimmer in space grew stronger. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist as more human ships materialized around the alien fleet. One by one, they dropped out of what the humans called slipspace, a method of travel the aliens had never seen before. How many? Commander Vex asked his tactical officer, but his voice came out as barely a whisper. Counting now, sir. 10... 20... The officer's voice grew higher with each number. Sir, they're everywhere. The alien commanders watched in growing horror as human ships appeared on all sides of their formation. Unlike the Defiance, these ships made no pretense of being small. They were massive angular vessels that looked like flying fortresses. Their hulls were dark and scarred, speaking of countless battles. 100 human ships, the tactical officer finally reported, all larger than anything in our fleet. Admiral Thrace's crystalline form was flickering rapidly with stress. This is impossible. Intelligence reports said humans only had a few dozen ships total. Captain Ross's voice came through the cum, and now there was definitely amusement in it. Intelligence reports can be misleading, Admiral, especially when the people you're spying on want them to be. General Kor's mandibles were clicking so fast they sounded like static. You let us believe you were weak. We didn't let you believe anything, Ross replied. You chose to believe what you wanted to believe. Humans learned long ago that enemies who underestimate you make mistakes. And you've made a lot of mistakes today. Commander Vex was studying the tactical display with growing dread. The human ships weren't just randomly positioned. They had formed a perfect sphere around the alien fleet. Every escape route was blocked. Worse, the ships were all different designs, each one clearly built for a specific purpose. "Captain Ross," Vex said, trying to keep his voice steady, "perhaps we can discuss this reasonably. There's no need for violence." "You're right," Ross agreed. "There isn't. All you have to do is leave, right now, all of you." "But the planet," Admiral Thrace protested. "Our governments have already committed resources." "Not our problem," Ross cut her off. "You came here thinking you could take something that belongs to us. You brought 200 ships to steal from 3 planets worth of primitive apes. How reasonable does that sound to you?" The alien commanders were quiet for a moment. When General Kor spoke, his voice was smaller than before. "How did you hide an entire fleet?" "Our sensors, our spies." "Your sensors saw exactly what we wanted them to see," Ross explained. "And your spies? Well, some of them have been working for us for years. Humans are good at making friends, General. Even with people who think they're enemies." One of Vex's officers leaned over to whisper urgently in his ear. The commander's scaled face went pale. "What do you mean, weapons locked?" "Sir, every human ship has target locks on multiple vessels in our fleet. They're not just surrounding us, they're ready to fire." Captain Ross continued his explanation as if he hadn't heard. "You see, the thing about humans is that we're pack. Hunters always have been. When you threaten one of us, you're threatening all of us. And when you mock one of our ships, ... double quotes, his voice hardened, well, that's like insulting the whole family." The Defiance, now fully deployed to its massive true size, began to move through the alien formation. The other human ships adjusted their positions to maintain the perfect encirclement. It was like watching a pack of wolves surround their prey. "This is a trick," Admiral Thrace insisted. "Some kind of hologram. Humans don't have this kind of technology." "Test it," Ross suggested. Calmly. Admiral Thrace hesitated. "What? Fire on one of my ships?" "Anyone you like. See if it's real." The challenge hung in space between them. None of the alien commanders wanted to be the first to find out what human weapons could do. "I thought so," Ross said, after a long pause. "Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to power down your weapons and leave this system. All of you, right now, and you're never coming back." "And if we refuse?" Vex asked, though his heart wasn't really in the Defiance. "Then, you'll discover that humans haven't just been hiding ships," Ross replied. "We've been developing weapons too. And trust me, Commander, you really don't want to see what we can do when we're angry." The space around the alien fleet seemed to grow darker as the human ships moved closer. Each one was now close enough that their weapons could be seen charging up strange alien designs that promised destruction beyond imagination. "Choose quickly," Captain Ross added. "My people are getting impatient." Commander Vex stared at the tactical display, his mind racing. 200 of the galaxy's most advanced warships, trapped by a human fleet that shouldn't even exist. He had to make a choice, and every second of delay made his position weaker. "Perhaps," he said carefully, "we could reach some kind of agreement. Share the planet's resources. ... No." Captain Ross's voice was flat and final. "You came here too. Take something that wasn't yours. You brought an invasion fleet to claim our territory. You mocked our ship and laughed at our warnings. There's nothing to negotiate." Admiral Thrace's crystalline form was flickering wildly now. "You can't expect us to just retreat. Our governments will demand explanations. There will be consequences." "Let me worry about the consequences," Ross replied. "Right now, you should be worried about whether you'll live to deliver any explanations." General Kor's mandibles clicked nervously. You're bluffing. Humans are supposed to be peaceful. You don't start wars. You're right, Ross agreed. We don't start wars, but you did. You brought 200 ships to steal our planet. That makes this your war, not ours. We're just finishing it. That's when something changed in the space around them. The human ships began to emit a low thrumming sound that seemed to vibrate through the hulls of every vessel present. It was like the growl of some massive predator. What is that? Vex demanded of his officers. Unknown, sir. Some kind of harmonic frequency. It's affecting our systems somehow. The alien ships began to experience minor malfunctions. Lights flickered. Communications crackled with static. Navigation systems showed impossible readings. The humans weren't even attacking yet, and the alien fleet was already feeling their power. This is just a taste, Ross explained, his voice cutting through the static. Human weapons don't work like yours. You think in terms of brute force. Bigger guns, more energy, stronger armor. We think in terms of efficiency. Why destroy a ship when you can just turn off its engines? As if to demonstrate his point, one of the Draken vessels suddenly went dark. All its lights went out. Its engines shut down. Even its life support systems stopped working. The Talon's Revenge just went completely dead. Vex's tactical officer reported in panic. All systems offline. They're not responding to any communications. Don't worry, Ross said. They're alive. We just turned off their ship. Completely. Every electronic system, every computer, every circuit. It's like flipping a switch. The dead Draken ship floated helplessly in space, its crew trapped inside a vessel that had become nothing more than an elaborate coffin. How? Admiral Thrace whispered. Humans have always been good with electronics, Ross explained. We invented computers, after all, and once you really understand how electronic systems work, it's not hard to figure out how to make them stop working. Permanently. Another ship went dark. Then another. The aliens watched in horror as their vessels were systematically disabled without a single shot being fired. The humans weren't destroying the ships, they were simply turning them off like old machines. Stop, General Kor shouted. Please, stop this. Are you surrendering? Ross asked. We need to discuss terms. There are no terms. Leave. Now, all of you. Or we'll turn off every ship in your fleet and leave you floating in space until your life support runs out. Commander Vex felt sweat running down his scaled skin despite the climate controls. You're monsters, he whispered. No, Ross replied, and for the first time, his voice carried real emotion. Monsters are the people who bring 200 warships to steal from others. Monsters are the people who laugh at peaceful warnings and prepare to commit genocide for mining rights. We're just humans protecting our home. More ships went dark. The great alien fleet was being reduced to helpless hulks, one vessel at a time. The humans hadn't even used conventional weapons yet. Long? Admiral Thrace asked desperately. How long before we lose life support? Depends on the ship, Ross answered. Some of your vessels have emergency backup systems that might last a few hours. Others, well, let's just say you shouldn't waste time. The space around them was filled with dead alien ships, their crews trapped inside powerless hulls. Only a few dozen vessels still had functioning systems, and those were failing one by one. Choose, Ross said simply. Leave now with the ships that still work, or stay and join the ones that don't. Commander Vex looked around at his remaining functional ships. His proud fleet had been reduced to fewer than 50 vessels, and that number was dropping by the minute. "All ships," he said finally, his voice heavy with defeat. "Prepare for immediate withdrawal." The retreat was chaotic and humiliating. The surviving alien ships scrambled to escape the system, their proud formations broken and scattered. Behind them floated the dead hulks of their disabled vessels, a testament to human technological superiority. "Commander." Vex sat in his command chair, watching the tactical display as his fleet fled. Of the 200 ships that had arrived with such confidence, only 43 were still operational. The rest were drifting in space, their crews waiting for rescue ships that might never come. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "we're receiving a transmission from the human captain." "Put him through," Vex said, though he dreaded what he might hear. Captain Ross's voice was calm and professional. "Commander Vex, before you leave, I want to make sure you understand something." "What?" Vex asked wearily. "This wasn't about the planet. Oh, we'll keep it, of course. But that's not why we did this." Admiral Thrace appeared on the holographic display, her crystalline form dim with exhaustion. "Then why? Why humiliate us like this?" "Because you needed to learn something," Ross replied. "All of you. Every species in this galaxy looks at humanity and sees weakness. You see our small territory, our limited colonies, our simple technology, and you think we're easy targets." General Kor's image flickered as his damaged ship struggled to maintain communications. "Are you saying this was all a lesson?" "Everything's a lesson if you're smart enough to learn from it," Ross said. "You came here thinking you could take whatever you wanted from the humans. You brought overwhelming force against what you thought was a defenseless species. You laughed at our warnings and mocked our ship." The human captain paused, letting his words sink in. "But here's what you didn't understand. Humans don't build armies to look impressive. We don't make weapons to show off. We don't design ships to intimidate our enemies. We build things that work. And when someone threatens what we care about, we use those things very, very effectively." Commander Vex found his voice. "What do you want us to tell our governments?" "The truth," Ross said simply. "Tell them that humanity is not as weak as it appears. Tell them that our small territory isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that we're satisfied with what we have. But more importantly, tell them that if they try to take what's ours, they'll learn the same lesson you did today." "You're threatening the entire galaxy," Admiral Thrace whispered. "No," Ross corrected. "I'm promising the entire galaxy. Leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone. Try to attack us, and you'll discover that humans are very good at defending themselves." The space around the fleeing alien ships was filled with human vessels. They made no aggressive moves, but their presence was unmistakable, a silent reminder of what had just happened. "There's something else you should know," Ross continued. "This fleet you've seen today, it's just one of 12. Earth has been busy while you've been watching our 3 little planets. We've been building, learning, preparing, not for conquest, but for defense." General Kor's mandibles clicked weakly. 12 fleets like this. 12 fleets better than this, Ross confirmed. Each one designed to protect human space from exactly the kind of attack you launched today. "We learned long ago that the best way to avoid war is to be ready for it." The alien commanders absorbed this information in stunned silence. 12 human fleets. Hundreds, maybe thousands of ships with technology they couldn't understand or counter. "But here's the good news," Ross said, and there was genuine warmth in his voice now. "Humans don't want to be your enemies. We never did. We're explorers, traders, builders. We want to learn from other species and share what we know, but we will not be victims. Commander Vex straightened in his chair. Despite everything, he found himself respecting the human captain. What happens now? Now you go home, Ross said. You report what you've seen. And hopefully, your governments will be smarter than you were today. The galaxy is big enough for all of us, but only if we treat each other with respect. The last of the alien ships reached the edge of the system and prepared to jump to hyperspace. Behind them, the human fleet remained in perfect formation around the planet they had tried to claim. Captain Ross, Vex said, as his ship prepared to jump. Yes, Commander, your ship. The Defiance. Why that name? Ross was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of human history. Because that's what humans do, Commander. When someone tells us we can't have something that's rightfully ours. When someone thinks they can push us around because we look weak. When someone mocks what we've built, ... Double quotes, he paused. We defy them. The alien fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying news that would change the galaxy forever. Behind them, the lone human ship that had started it all resumed its patrol, ready to defend its home against the next threat that dared to mock it.